We're going to lay out our grid lines for the basement, the first floor, the roof system. I always put the grid lines on the basement, so we'll make sure we're in the basement level when we go into the drawing. What the grid lines are going to be is just an outline of the structure. All the walls for the basement that hold up the structure. Not a lot of people use grid lines in residential. I like to use it to lay things out so I can make sure my walls all line up from first floor to basement to second floor to whatever we have. In commercial construction, you'll see the grid lines used to locate structural columns with bubbles that are either on the left or the top side of the sheet. So this structure is 74 feet long. The garage is 24 feet by 24 feet. That means this house here is 50 feet. 74 minus 24 gives you 50. And we're 30 feet deep here. We've got a little front stoop that's 20 feet wide by 8 feet deep. It is 22 feet 8 inches over. This PDF file is up in the Dropbox at the Sky website, and you can download it and print it off. I have this file courtesy of Homestead Homes. So we're going to use, and again I was looking at the basement as I was talking about those dimensions. We're going to use this to lay out our house. So I am in the basement level. If I go up here, if you follow my arrow up to the upper right, upper left, the architecture tab, way over here on the right side are the grid bubbles. So I'm going to pick a grid, and I'm just going to pick a point across the top of the screen, and here's another one. I'm going to go down. That'll be the side of the house. Here's the other side. This will actually be the garage. We'll go in here, go across here. So this is the garage space. This is the house. Now I just sketched those out there. There's no control, no dimensions on it. I'm going to give myself some control now. And I'm going to touch this line, and it says it's 74 feet 11 and 1/16 of an inch away from this line. The line that I pick, the line that I select, when I go and touch this number and change it to 50, that's the line that gets moved. So now it's 50 feet away. If I touch this, it's 25 feet 4 inches away. I'm going to make sure it's 24 feet. I touch the bottom line here, it says it's 26 feet 5. I'm going to put it at 24 feet. Again, the line you select is the line that gets moved. Touching this one, it says it's 16 feet away from the front of the garage. That doesn't do me much good. I want it to be 30 feet away from here. So I'm going to grab the little blue dot on the 16 feet, slide it up there, and change it to 30. I can clean this up a little bit, make these lines a little shorter. Whoops. Undo that so I have a straight line. Grab the little dot there, pull it up. I can grab the dot, pull it over. I don't need all the extra line hanging out there. Pull these over. I'm going to put a couple of dimensions on this to control it. I'm going to put, let's see what happens if I go linear. See, linear won't work. You have to use align dimensions. Align dimensions will work on your grid lines, and then I can lock these. I don't want them to move. Go from here to here to here. See, there's my 6 foot. That's how far this is from the front of the house. 6 foot. There's my 24 feet. I'm going to throw a couple more grid lines in, so I went up to architecture, grid. I'm going to come in here and grid, Put a grid line down here. Put one down here. And then put one across here. This is my front stoop. I'm going to control its position by touching this. It's supposed to be 22 feet. If you look at your drawing, 22 feet 8. Whoops. Feet, not comma. I want to move line number 17 here. My numbers won't match your numbers because I've done the grids a couple of times. That's supposed to be 20 feet. Again, the line that you select is the line that gets moved. If your bubbles look really large, you might be at 1/8 of an inch equals a foot. Make sure you're at 1/4 of an inch equals a foot. Here's this front line. It's supposed to be 8 feet away. So I could lock those down again with annotate, align, and put some dimensions here from the first line to this line to this line. Pull it out here. Lock it. Lock it. And I'm going to do a dimension from here to here and lock it. See, this line, the whole drawing moves, but the line doesn't move. It maintains its relationship. We're locking it down. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use these grid lines to lay out my basement walls, my first floor walls, some of them for the floor system. I will end up hiding them, turning them off, and the dimensions off later. This is just a basic layout tool. Now everything will line up the way it's supposed to. I'm going to come back and do the basement walls in a few minutes.